James Harden traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm going to tell you why James Harden is the GOATer, the greatest of all trade requesters, and why the Clippers pulled off a move that had some Luka Doncic vibes. I'll tell you why that's the truth. Also, the latest Lakers trade rumors, why Giannis to the Lakers is more of a possibility today than it was yesterday. Will the Lakers make a move before the Thursday NBA trade deadline? We'll get into that. UCLA gets a big win over Rutgers. I got my 5 big takeaways. Lonzo Ball back in Westwood. Also, Elijah Arenas had his biggest game. The son of Gilbert Arenas had a big game for the Trojans. We're talking USC basketball, UCLA basketball, and a downright offensive trade proposal for Tarik Skubal and the Dodgers. I'm going to roast that trade. Also, Sean McVay, Rams head coach Sean McVay, finally reveals why Tutu Atwell, the receiver they gave $10 million to, he scored just 1 touchdown, why he did not play very much this season. All that more, and also Austin Reeves, he was back, and we'll break that down. All that more coming up next on the LA Sports Report.
LA is the sports capital of the world. The Lakers have entered their Luka Doncic era. LeBron doesn't just want a farewell tour, he wants a farewell title. The Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. Go, Kings, go. The Dodgers are the best run franchise in all of professional sports. Shohei Ohtani is the GOAT. Steve Ballmer will do anything to get the Clippers a championship. Mick Cronin has to win a national championship at UCLA. Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback in this league. College football is just better when USC is good. This whole city has the Mamba mentality. I love LA.
Live from the heart of Los Angeles, this is the LA Sports Report with your host, Doug McKain.
Got it.
What is up, and welcome to another episode of the LA Sports Report. Everything you need to know about the world of LA sports in less than an hour. All the hottest stories, the stories that people don't talk about on other shows, the hottest takes, the truth. I'm not afraid to say the things that need to be said about LA sports. So if you're new to the channel, I'm Low to the Soil. It's kind of the dream show we have been working on for years now, really, where it's Dodgers, Lakers, Rams, Chargers, UCLA, USA, Kings, Olympics. If you're talking about the world of LA sports, we're talking about it here on the LA Sports Report. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. I got my man Noise by Noel Sanchez, Young Lotto. He's rocking with us. We got BDR producing as always. Big Dog Rob. Got to get his take on James Harden. I kind of feel bad for BDR because he's got to maybe update that, or maybe do a face swap. We'll put Garland's head on James Harden's head for the intro there, BDR. So we won't be too crazy, but there's so much to get into in the world of LA sports. So let's dive right into it. The big story in the association, James Harden traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. We heard the rumors for really like 24 hours. There was talk that the players knew on Monday that, hey, James Harden wants out. And there was a lot of talk that maybe it was because of a contract situation. Maybe it was a reaction to something that could be possible with Kawhi Leonard and a possible suspension. But ultimately, James Harden, he's gone. And Darius Garland, who's in the third year of a 5-year, $197 million contract, is a Los Angeles Clipper. James Harden said about the trade, at the end of the day, it's a business, and I think both sides got what they wanted. They're in a great place and are very happy. I'm excited about Cleveland. I'm still trying to chase my first championship and do whatever it takes to win. And the specifics of the trade, the beard goes to the land, Darius Garland goes to La La Land, and a second-round pick. So they get a second-round pick. And I'm going to talk about what this means for the Clippers because I think the Clippers cooked with this trade. But first, I'm going to talk about James Harden. I saw Nick Wright absolutely cook and obliterate James Harden. Talk about how he's requested so many trades and that he has not been the best in the playoffs. And yes, look, game 6 versus the Spurs in the second round of 2017, 10 points, 10 in an elimination game, a guy that's supposed to be the guy on the team. That was terrible. Game 5 against the Heat, when it was with the Sixers, that was terrible. There's been some bad moments. And look, when you look at the drop-off, James Harden in the regular season versus James Harden in the playoffs, certainly he's earned that reputation. He's not the best when it comes to playoffs. Having said that, he really was a Chris Paul hamstring injury away from beating the Warriors. And that was a team that really was one of the greatest teams to ever be assembled. So it's very interesting how a narrative can shift. And it's very interesting how one series or a couple series can kind of define you. And look, the truth is, is James Harden the player that LeBron James is or the player that Steph Curry is? Some of his contemporaries, Kevin Durant? No. But has James Harden still been good in this league longer than someone like a Russell Westbrook? Chris Paul is done. Blake Griffin's been out of the league for quite some time. And I know that people say, oh, it's James Harden. As soon as things don't go his way, he wants out. And you know what I call James Harden? James Harden is the GOATer, the greatest of all trade requesters. He's the master of the trade request. Just last week, what was the narrative here in LA? Man, the Clippers, a 6-21 start, and now they're almost in the play-in game. One of the best turnarounds that we've seen in a season. James Harden looking happy. Kawhi Leonard is back. Maybe this team can make a run. There was a lot of preseason hype about the Clip Show. He was happy as a clam. And then all of a sudden, boom, he's in Cleveland. So he's now engineered moves to the Nets to form a super team with KD and Kyrie, the 76ers with Joel Embiid, the Clippers, and now the Cavaliers, all in the last 6 years. Even before that, he was in OKC. They didn't want to pay him. They ended up going with Serge Ibaka. He goes to the Rockets, where he was a perennial all-star and won an MVP. Maybe should have won 2 MVPs. The year that Russ won it when he averaged a triple-double. But here's what I'll say about James Harden. The truth is, you look back at those departures and him going from team to team. He wanted out of Houston because Houston was out of assets. They couldn't build a contender anymore. Daryl Morey left and James Harden left. And yes, he did greenlight that trade for Russell Westbrook, and they gave him a ton of picks to get him. But that shows you have an incompetent front office and GM. And you shouldn't let your players dictate their rosters outside of very select. I don't think any players should. I mean, it's quite right. Even LeBron James, I don't think should have a say in a player's roster. That just tells you have bad management. You can't let those guys run the show. And then also the owner, Tillman Fertitta, he wanted to rebuild the Rockets and he didn't want to pay the tax after he bought the team. So the team was just running on fumes. They weren't willing to spend, and James Harden wanted out. Understandable. And then you look at the Nets, and I see it out there. Oh, James Harden was wearing a fat suit. And James Harden lost all that weight because he walked from Houston to Brooklyn. Right? I may have called him James Larden in text, in talking to friends. But the truth is, that was the smart move for James Harden at the time, is to go to a better situation where you get paid, where you have a chance of winning. And then what happened? Kyrie Irving went bat-ish crazy like he typically does, at the time at least, and he wanted out of there. And then he goes to a different situation outside of Brooklyn because Kyrie was being a weirdo. And then he goes to Philly. And guess what? What happens in Philly? Daryl Morey screwed him out of a max extension after he took less. And then he goes to the Clippers. And then guess what? Kawhi Leonard doing shady stuff with Aspiration, a fake tree company. the Clippers not wanting to pay him. So guess what? Like that fake tree company with Kawhi Leonard, he makes like a tree and he leaves. So I look at all these things. I see Nick Wright. I see everyone, Harden this, Harden that. And look, do I think James Harden can be a great player on a championship winning team as a number one or number two? I don't. I'm not the biggest James Harden fan. Like if I was building a roster, I would not probably pick James Harden, but ask yourself this question. Why is he leaving the Clippers? He's leaving the Clippers because the Clippers aren't going to pay him. And that's the truth is. The Clippers request makes the most sense out of all of them because he has a player option that's only partially guaranteed for $13 million if he gets waived before next season. And he's not on a team that can win a championship. And he can go to Cleveland, a team that wants to win now. You're going to make Jarrett Allen better. You're going to make Evan Mobley better. Those guys are going to be walking buckets with him, and he'll get paid. Look, James Harden probably is the reason why the apron exists, right? I mean, owners are tired of stars forcing their way out of situations to get a bad return in bad situations. Now, the aprons, of course, have other reasons too. But the truth is, I mean, they should call it the James Harden rule. Just like you have bird rights, the Harden rule. And I think is the GOATer. Him and Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Butler and Kevin Durant, those three, they understand what the player empowerment era is about. Will the Cavs be better off because of it? We'll see. I think their chances of going all in the Eastern Conference, who scares you? I like the move from Cleveland's standpoint. And I also think it's Donovan Mitchell's team. And if I had to pick Donovan Mitchell versus Kawhi right now, I just can't trust Kawhi. I can't trust Kawhi in the playoffs. Now, here was Shams Charania talking about how the deal went down. And we come back. I'm going to play a clip from this guy who's been going viral. He cooked Harden a couple years ago. He was like this big media personality cooking James Harden. Talk about him. And we'll also talk about why I think this is a great move for the Clippers.
This came together because he had a mutual option in his contract for next season. And that allowed both sides to come together the last few days and figure out what does the future look like. And is there a beneficial path forward, an outcome forward for both sides? Because James Harden wants to be in a win-now situation. He made that clear to the Clippers, and also somewhere where he has a longer-term future. Next season and beyond was not promised for him in LA. He viewed Cleveland as fitting both of those criteria as far as a win-now championship potential chance, as well as a longer-term future there. And for the Clippers, they get a player in Darius Garland for the now and being competitive now, but also for the future.
Yeah, 26.
James Harden, 36 years old, and like you just said, Michael, you have Darius Garland at the age of 26. It's very rare for two prolific star players to be traded with a 10-year age gap that we saw here today with James Harden and Darius Garland. I'm told that James Harden and Donovan Mitchell have already connected, and James Harden has spoken with Donovan Mitchell, and both seem very excited about this partnership. You think about two high-powered elite guards. James Harden has played with a plethora of elite players that score and have the ball in their hands throughout his whole NBA career. But let's look at what the Cavs have done over the last few days. Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder in the backcourt in that trade with the Kings. Today, they bring in James Harden. It's clear in Cleveland they want to put together the pieces around Donovan Mitchell to try to win a championship. The Clippers are playing more for the long run. The Cavaliers understand there's a finite moment that they have here over the next couple of years, 3 years, to try to win a championship with Donovan Mitchell at the helm. James Harden, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen. You got Max Strus coming back. They got other pieces. Jalen Tyson, who's emerged as a great player already in his career. They are in full championship mode. We've seen it with the pieces this week.
So there was Shams Charania on James Harden, and kind of getting back to the Harden hate. Here's when you had this media personality cook James Harden. I'm going to react to this too.
Ask the producer to pipe this into the Clippers locker room. If I can talk to you, James, I hope you're taking notes. I'm telling you in advance, you're welcome for the wisdom I'm about to spew. Because listen, I get on my knees every night and pray for someone to believe in me like Daryl Morey believed in you. You wanted a certain coach, they brought in Mike D'Antoni. You want to play a certain style, they played it. You wanted Dwight Howard, they brought him in and got rid of him when you were tired of him. You wanted Chris Paul, they brought him in and got rid of him when you were tired of him. They brought in your old friend Russell Westbrook. You want to go to Vegas on off days? They looked away. You wanted the team to stay over so you could go out at night. They changed the schedule, and it didn't work. And you know what? You said, I'm going to break up with my whoopee. Not good enough. I see the bright lights in New York. I want to go there. My old pal, Kevin Durant. It's going to work. The big three. And all after 1 year, you wanted out. You realized, oh my gosh, I took this guy for granted, the guy that believed in me. I went back with Daryl Morey. They traded Ben Simmons for you. How did they pull that off? And you know what? You went there and you got a partner who got the MVP. He won the MVP. And what did you say afterwards? You said, they didn't hand me the reins. You're the point guard. You were holding the reins. And what did you do when you had the reins? You scored 9 points in Game 7 against Boston. You blew a 3-2 series lead. So they fired their coach. Not good enough. You broke up with your guy who believed in you again. You said, the bright lights of LA, that's where I want to go. Let's see if that works. Listen, James, have you ever had those friends who had bad roommates? Over and over, they complained about their bad roommates. This guy's terrible. The bad roommate here. They never thought to be self-aware enough that they're the bad roommate. They're the problem. Hey, James, you're the problem. If this doesn't work this year in this system with this team, then you're going to go and point fingers at everybody else, and you're going to go back home and you're going to start swiping right for another team, and there's not going to be anybody left. Because, James, you're not the beard, you're not the system, you're the problem.
Yeah, and that was entertaining, and he definitely, I think, did a really solid job pointing out the deficiencies of James Harden. But I'm not here to defend James Harden. I mean, is he overrated? I think he is. I mean, you could never convince me he's a better player than a Dwayne Wade, right, or someone like that. But I think he does make some sense for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and this is an LA show, so we'll talk about what this means for the Clippers, because I think it's a great move for the Clippers. I mean, yes, Darius Garland has had his injury issues. He's only played 70 games once in his season. That was last year. If he can stay healthy, though, this is a piece. It really is. I mean, he's 10 years younger than James Harden. And when you look at where the league is going, there's some questions. Can you invest in smaller guards? And are those guards the type of players you can win championships around? But the Clippers entered this week as a play-in team. They had the NBA's oldest roster. They had zero control over their next 4 first-round picks. Their future was as hopeless as the Lakers' future was before they traded for Luka Doncic. And now they're in a much better position. And really, the question about the Clippers was, who's going to break down first? Is it going to be Kawhi or is it going to be James Harden? They weren't going to win a championship with this core. They just were not. And Julius Garland, he is nowhere near the player that Luka Doncic is. Luka Doncic is an MVP caliber player. Like, let's not get this twisted. They're not even close to sitting at the same table or being in the same conversation, but the Lakers were going nowhere with Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and the Clippers were going absolutely nowhere. They're about to drive off a ditch with Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. They were going nowhere either. So at least the Clippers, they have direction. They now have a really good beginning when it comes to you're not having to take on that financial risk of committing to an older version of James Harden. And the other thing, too, is you don't have to pay an Evan Mobley or a Donovan Mitchell like the Cavs do. And Garland, he's now one of just 2 players of the roster that has a guaranteed contract for the summer of 2027, along with Ivica Zubac. And he's 28. So you're going to have a lot of cap flexibility. You're going to be able to get some picks. I mean, the fact they got a 2nd-round pick in this, I mean, there was a time when it felt like Julius Garland was going to require a Trey Murphy level return. And they're able to get off something that they didn't want in James Harden, and then they're able to get some picks. So I think, look, you look at where the Clippers are at with Steve Ballmer. The Clippers are still a sleeping giant. Yes, they're the Clippers. Yes, they're one of the most inept franchises in the history of professional sports. They got a new arena with an owner that's willing to spend on the margin and do anything that he can to try to win. And now you can use your draft picks to possibly trade for a player, and that would not be possible without Garland because you don't know what is in store for him. So it's not like, oh my goodness, Nico Harrison, Luka Doncic or anything like that, But the Clippers, they now have something that a lot of franchises in this league don't have, and that's hope. And they're not bogged down by a bad roster that is filled with older, aging players that are under contract. So, I mean, look, the window's over for James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. It was never really going to turn to a championship anyway. But whether they waived his partially guaranteed contract this summer or let the contract expire in 2027, the Clippers, they weren't going to go deep anyway. So this was a win for the Clippers. All right, Noel, reaction to what this means for the Clippers. I think it's a good day for Steve Ballmer and the Clippers. Move off James Harden, get some financial flexibility, and yeah, it could be a couple years until they're contenders, and you have to hit on picks and find the right guys, but I think they actually have a future now.
Doug, this was one of the more cordial trade requests and trade just endings to one of James Harden's sagas here with the team. You think about the 76ers exit, you think about the Brooklyn Nets exit. Those reports were going on for days. James Harden was even going to kids in China saying Daryl Morey's a liar.
Yeah.
This time around, we're watching the NBC broadcast one day. We see the news. The next day, we're driving home. He's a Cavalier. So clearly, both sides were working. James Harden told Ramona Shelburne that he actually didn't request a trade, that it was the Clippers that came to him saying that, we don't really see a future together. So let's work together. Let's get you to a team that you think you're going to win with. So I agree with you. I really like it for both sides. The Clippers now have a guard in Darius Garland that kind of matches with an Ivica Zubac's timeline. Zubac is a player that they've invested in. They've kept for years since they stole him from the Lakers for nothing. So like you said, they have hope. They have that new arena that they're trying to build a core fan base with. And when you get a young guard like Darius Garland, someone that young players emulate their game after, someone that could run the offense, that can take the ball away from Kawhi Leonard's hands, I think they're in a really good spot. You don't know how much longer you have with Kawhi Leonard, especially with this aspiration situation going on. But getting star guards in today's NBA is pretty hard and developing them. So the fact that they have someone that has proven that he could be an all-star, has proven that he could have some big performances in the playoffs, I think it's a W for the Clippers. And Harden, he goes to a Cavs team that needs something. They fell apart last year in the playoffs after a great regular season. So I think a great move for both sides.
No doubt about it. I mean, that's a great point. It's like this was an amicable divorce. It's like when you're getting divorced and you drive to the divorce attorney to sign the papers together in the same car, and she uses the pen, then you use the pen. It's like, hey, can I use that? It's like you don't have your own pen. It's like this is not one of those divorces where she's throwing all your stuff out and she's setting on fire. So yeah, both parties got what they wanted. Now let's switch gears. Austin Reeves and the Los Angeles Lakers back in action. Finally, this road trip is over. A 2-week road trip for the Lakers, and they end up going 5-3. It's about what you would expect, and there's some really interesting takeaways, and we're going to get to the Lakers trade rumors here in a second, but getting Austin Reeves back is just massive, and I think we saw early in that second half the lineup that we should see them use as their go-to lineup, the lineup that we think we should see. Reeves played 21 minutes. He was on a minutes restriction, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. Wasn't efficient. Goes 3 for 9 from the field, 1 for 5 from beyond the arc. Looked rusty. It was a rusty Reeves, but he's going to be fine. He looked Reeves-ish. I had to give him a grade B, B-, something like that. Considering the circumstance, I think it was a positive for Austin Reeves. Here was Reeves talking about his return.
I just thought we played good basketball. We were obviously defending at a high level. I think they had 40 points in the first half. If we could continue to do that on a nightly basis, our offense is going to give us opportunity to win a lot of games. It'll be great. It'll be good give back and sleep in our own beds, play in front of our own crowd. What we go 4-2 on this trip?
Yes, if you don't count the first 2, so 5-3. Yeah.
That's a good trip. We had some really good wins. We got a tough couple losses, but it's all learning experiences. We're getting back healthy, and like I said, it'll be good to play in front of our crowd and get back home.
Did you miss your friend Luka just a little bit?
No, not at all.
All right, Billy, back.
So there was Austin Reeves. I like that little moment at the end. Did you miss Luka at all? Hey, he laughed, said no. Hey, Luka is the guy they can't miss. It was a great night for Luka Doncic. He's played at MVP level for essentially the entire season, but really has turned up Western Conference Player of the Month. He was announced on Tuesday. He won that. And yeah, it was a fantastic performance for Luka Doncic. But here was JJ Redick talking about Austin Reeves' return and what it could mean for the Lakers' best starting five. By the way, the best starting five. The Lakers, you need to keep that line together. It's DeAndre Ayton, it's LeBron, it's Luka, it's Smart, it's Reeves. And that lineup, the net rating with Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves together, a minus 9.8 heading into yesterday. You had 40 games without those three. So they've only played 8 games together. You've only had 8 games all season where it's been Austin Reeves, LeBron, and Luka Doncic. And in those games, they were 5-3. They were able to add another win yesterday. Their offensive rating at 108.9, defense rating at 118.7. You got to give those guys time to build some chemistry. For any Lakers fans that think that Austin Reeves is going to come off the bench, zero chance of that happening. None whatsoever. And Dave McMenamin yesterday said that LeBron James is expecting to finish the year with the Los Angeles Lakers. So LeBron's never coming off the bench. Reeves isn't coming off the bench. He's not an all-star. Will the Lakers give a non-all-star player who comes off the bench $30 million a year? What's up?
Was traded.
We got some breaking news here. What's the specifics? Where's he going?
Coming in from Shams Charania.
Got some breaking news. Speaking of trades.
Loading.
Wait, who's traded?
Anthony Davis is traded to the Washington Wizards
For Chris Middleton.
Anthony Davis, Jaden
Dante
Hardy,
Exum.
D'Lo, and Dante Exum for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, 2 first-round picks and 3 second-rounders. Trae Young and Anthony Davis are teaming up in Washington.
Wow. That's a power move. So it'd be awesome if this was like 2021 and Anthony Davis is now being passed around. He's entered that stage of his career where, hey, you're on one team, it doesn't work out. Let's flip you to the next team. And the Mavs, though, hey, that's some deadline chaos. I mean, the Mavs flipping AD, D'Lo, and picks for Chris Middleton. You get a nice little youth rebuild situation there. That's some good day out. I mean, like Dallas is just continuing to roll the dice. I mean, Marvin Bagley. Oh my goodness, Duke trash. That's pretty wild right there. I mean, this trade looks like it's kind of one of those trades where it's like if you're playing 2K and you have with the trade machine, you're just trying to randomize it. It feels like a very random trade. But hey, I don't know. It's
I like Trae and AD.
I mean, I like it. It's like stacking like fine china and hoping it doesn't break. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know.
That's a good haul for the Mavericks though. Those two picks, 3 second-rounders. You got a young piece in AJ Johnson, second-year player.
I think for Washington, I mean, it doesn't move me to, but they could be fun. It's almost like when you paired Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, you know they were going to win anything, but AD obviously at his best is better than those guys. Trae Young, I mean, look, it's kind of has some ripple effects as a blockbuster trade. And hey, now you're starting to see a really good movement, though. I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr., that was a pretty surprising trade yesterday. But I think it's just more the injury plague is now going to Washington. Like that's what's exactly. If you like, it's tough to even break down and get excited about trading for Anthony Davis, especially with the way that he's looking these days. Yeah. Thinking that he's going to be able to be the number one, and now he's got to be the number one.
And the Wizards, they're getting a new arena too, so they would just want guys to put on those billboards, guys to put on the season ticket pitches to get fans to come in. So I don't blame them. You go and get the names that are available on the trade block. If it wasn't Trae, they were probably going to go for John Morant.
Yeah, and that's a good point. It's like a part of this league is an entertainment product. You want to try to sell seats, and like if I'm in DC, there's probably not that many better things to do than go and see Anthony Davis and Trae Young. And if you're Dallas, I mean, you're basically making a bold move by turning a superstar into depth plus picks. So it was a long-term play for Dallas, and Washington goes all in. Could be another win-win trade. That's kind of the theme, I think, of this deadline is some win-win trades for both teams. But yeah, nice. We'll break that one down. And the Lakers, the big question, will Lakers make a trade? Will they make a trade? Because now that it's interesting because the Luka trade, sends AD to Dallas, and now Dallas is out of the Western Conference. And now AD's out of the Western Conference. So you don't even have to deal with AD in your own conference if he's even good. And that's, the Mavs, well, Nico Harrison's going to be trending once again. Let's just put it that way. But here was JJ Redick talking about Austin Reeves' return, what that means for the Lakers lineup. Because I think there were some signs last night. Basically, the Lakers could beat teams that are as good as them or worse. They just struggle to beat teams that are better than them. Below average against better teams. Got some comments. We'll get into those comments too. But here was JJ Redick about Austin Reeves.
I thought he moved great and looked like Austin. He had 3 or 4 really good looks in the first half that didn't go down, but did a nice job of attacking the basket, getting to the free throw line. He says he had 1 assist. Does that say 1 assist? Yeah. I didn't realize throwing the ball off the backboard to a teammate is not considered assist anymore, but I think that is emblematic of he's just wants to play, and he wants to be a good teammate, and certainly give LeBron a highlight and give the fans a highlight. But he played great in terms of just the lineups. Yeah, just wanted to try to keep everybody's rotation essentially the same. While eating away at 20 minutes essentially, and then with the way the game was going. Felt just like let's get his minutes. Make sure he gets his 20 minutes. So that's why we started him. That was the plan before the game, but felt like that was the right thing to do in that situation. Well, I think after probably I don't know if it was after Cleveland or maybe it was Washington, but after one of those games, it was just like I'm not going to ask him because everybody's going to ask him. So let's talk about other stuff. I've said this a number of times, but all these guys have a lot on their minds because of their contract situations, the trade deadline. Certainly, Austin, is in line for a pretty significant raise, and I think having that confidence in your body is huge.
So there's JJ Redick talking about Austin Reeves. And yeah, like you put out, there's a lot on these players' minds, right? There's a lot on Austin Reeves' mind because he's trying to get the bag. But let's go to the comments here. We got SoCal Red 16. That's our guy. He's been rocking with us since the very first episode. A laser day one. We appreciate you guys out there. Muad'Dib 69 AD got hurt hearing the breaking news. That's a great one. Comment of the show right there so far. Look, he played 29 games for the Mavericks. The trade just looks worse every single day that goes by. They did shake things up, which they were trying to. The specifics of the trade, yeah. I mean, let's go back into it because everyone's talking about it. We got Muad'Dib. Imagine if the Mavs had a player like Luka Doncic. Oh, imagine that, right? Some franchises don't get a player their entire existence as good as Luka Doncic, but you get Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum to the Wizards for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, 2 first-round picks, and 3 second-rounders. I like this trade for the Mavericks. I will say this. You were going nowhere with Anthony Davis. You were already, I think too, if you're a Mavericks fan and if you're kind of trying to rebuild that franchise, like even if Anthony Davis was good, when Mavs fans see Anthony Davis, they might as well see Nico Harrison's head face swapped on him. They might as well see him wearing a number 77 Luka Doncic jersey. Because when you see Anthony Davis, you think of Luka Doncic. Yeah. He's like the stepdad you never wanted, right? It's like no one wants Anthony Davis if you're a Mavericks fan, and they get a chance to get some depth and rebuild. So that's a shockwave. And it's a trade that, look, the Lakers and Rob Pelinka, or as I'm calling him, playing Pelinka, if they don't make a move and you're just trying to get into the offseason to see if you have a better chance to get Giannis, and we'll talk about that here in just a second, at the very least, you made the best move that any team has made in the last 5 years, right? So this further reminds you, as a jaded and spoiled LA sports fan, that You think it's bad this year because, we're not a top 3 seed in the West. Look, you got a Luka Doncic in his absolute prime. I would have taken an 0-82 season for 2 years in a row if it meant getting Luka Doncic versus getting past the first round or the second round with Anthony Davis and LeBron James because they weren't going to win a championship. So it's all about the future, and the Mavs are doing the same thing. You kind of had to feel for Anthony Davis a little bit, by the way, though. Like, when you get traded this many times, it's like nobody wants you, man. It's like, we don't want you. We don't think we can win with you. And he's an NBA all-time 75 player who won a championship that really lived up to being a top pick. And unfortunately, he's in Washington. But I think he's happy too, though. I think he should be happy about this, a chance to go and play with Trae Young and lose in the first round. So that should be pretty fun. Some more comments here. Then we're going to get into the Lakers trade rumors, which it's more about the future. But there's still some juicy stuff. I'm going to tell you the things that I think the Lakers need to accomplish at this deadline. A.U. Potter, young players can play small for a longer time, so youth plays a bigger role in the NBA these days than Major League Baseball. The Truth Seeker Doc, can Lakers trade LaFraud for a guy 10 years younger? Lakers have no chance, so just suck it up and get rid of him at the end of the year. Give me the LeBron James song.
Got him.
This is how Laker fans are going to feel if LeBron's on the team next year. Big Ant finally on the move. Craig Osterberg. We'll see how they do against top 500 teams and 500 or better teams. We've got Lethal Uno. I feel that AD will be playing in Chicago if he's getting passed around. TBH. Dude, he's a blunt player now, man. Dude gets passed around. He's on the Shaq tour at this point. Muad'Dib. Harden and Clippers are a perfect match. They're perennial. We've got Crash, the best pitcher in baseball. We'll talk some Dodgers here in a second. Nice shirt, D-Mac. Goes well with a laser hat. Appreciate that, Rick. We want Skubal. Okay, so let's switch gears to some Lakers talk. So Lakers get the win yesterday, and they're basically a 500 team over the last month. Can this team, as currently constructed, compete with the better teams in the league? No, they have a minus 29 point differential, right? They're a team that is below 500 against winning teams this year. Having said that, last night was only the 9th game of the season where we've had LeBron James, Austin Reeves, and Luka Doncic in the same lineup at the same time. But I think just for starters, what the Lakers need to do at the trade deadline, if you're going to make a move on the margins, if you're going to find a way to improve the chances of this year's team doing any of the playoffs, you have to turn Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, and Dalton Connect into something. They can't be nothing. You have to find a way to improve on the margins. And last night, I knew they were going to blow out the Nets because they have a lot of success against the bad teams. The Lakers end up winning 125-109. They're up 39 at one point. And I was mainly looking at the Nets players last night. I was looking at Nick Claxton, who was efficient, 10 points, 5 for 7, but also the big Torrey. I mean, he's a guy that the Lakers don't have a power big. They really, truly don't. And if you are this Lakers team and there's any way to just get better this year, the way you have to look at it is through the lens of, can they be a starter now and with Luka Doncic in the future? So the Lakers need a wing and a center. Can you find a way to get any of those players at the deadline? Could you swing big on a move for an Andrew Wiggins? Is that still on the table? That would require your first round pick for sure. Rui Hachimura, names like that. But the big buzz yesterday came from Mark Stein, who said in his Steinline piece that the Lakers are, quote, a very viable threat for Giannis Antetokounmpo if he's not dealt at the deadline. So at this point, if you're a Lakers fan, if we're being completely realistic, you're not getting Giannis at the deadline, but let's hope you do not see any tweets from Shams that have Giannis in them unless they're that he's going to stay in Milwaukee.
Ooh, another trade.
What else we got?
Oh my God. Jared McKain to OKC for Rockets first round pick and 3 second-round picks.
Jared McKain on the move. Wow. Duke.
BJ took his spot on Philly.
That's a pretty interesting move for a player that really, if he didn't get injured last year, was probably going to win the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure they'll like the nail polish and TikToks there in OKC. But that's a really good move for them. I'm surprised. I mean, at some point you got to use those picks, and he's an established player. And when you're Oklahoma City and you have all that depth, bringing in young guys that can continue to take the roster to another level and allow those guys that have played deep into the playoffs not to have to carry the load. We saw at the beginning of the season with J-Dub and Dort and some of those guys that were out early on. Like, you need to stack depth from younger players that can really play that full 82, and you're going 4 rounds of 7-game series. So I like that move, man. I think if you're doing a list of the best GMs, Sam Presti's certainly right there, not just the NBA, but all of sports. But getting back to Giannis and the Lakers, here's what Mark Stein had to say. He said,
Got it.
what happened here? Mark Stein said, no one is talking about the Lakers as a factor for the Giannis sweepstakes right now because they're not a factor if a trade is going to happen by week's end. They don't have enough tradable assets to join the in-season bidders, but if the Bucks do ultimately decide to take this saga into the spring, the Lakers, league sources say, would then indeed become a very viable threat to land number 34. There is little choice for the Lakers heading into Thursday's deadline except to say that they're just going to stay patient and avoid deals and involve any long-term salary to maintain maximum flexibility for the spring. The hope for the purple and gold would then be to use their considerable projected salary cap space to be able to take in a contract like Antetokounmpo via trade or another expensive star if one shakes loose post-playoffs to pair with backcourt cornerstones Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, who returned to action on Thursday in Brooklyn after 19-game injury absence. So that's music to your ears if you're a Lakers fan and you want Giannis Antetokounmpo in LA. Because if he gets traded at the deadline, not only would he be traded, there's a chance he could be traded to the Western Conference, a team like the Warriors, a team like the Timberwolves. He has made it known that he would have the Knicks as his first choice. I had a source tell me he wants to be at MSG. He wants to play with the New York Knicks. But with Giannis and the Lakers, the interesting part about all of that is that if you would get Giannis in the offseason, the Lakers can get him without sending back any salaries to have to match. And you basically would give up your 3 first-round picks, and you would be making those trades on the Bucks' behalf when the draft occurs. So that's kind of how it would go down, is the Lakers will get Giannis Antetokounmpo, they give those picks, and then you would make those picks, and then those picks would then ultimately get traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. So that is what you need to be looking for. And I know that's not the most exciting trade deadline, and yes, there are some moves that you can still make, but it's tough to deny the allure of Giannis. And yes, he is on the wrong side of 30. Yes, he's dealing with calf strains, but he's one of the best 20 basketball players ever. He's still one of the best 5 to 7 players in the league. And to make the Luka Doncic era a success, he has to win at least one championship. In this league of parity and aprons, I'm not asking for a dynasty. I just want a championship. At least one. 2 would be great. 3 ideal. But you have to get one or it is a failure by Lakers standards. Now, think about this. If there was any trade it wouldn't make sense on either side. And here's the truths about the Lakers. If you're going to try to make a trade right now for Giannis Antetokounmpo, if you're able to do that, here's the truth. I mean, Giannis, Luka, and AR would be so much better than AD, Braun, and AR, right? We talk about Anthony Davis getting traded. And the truth is Giannis is better than any player you're going to be able to really acquire. The question is, can you surround them with depth? So that's a trade. That's a move that 100% you want to make. I know that some people think, in this day and age, you just can't super max a couple of guys and expect to fill in. When you're as good as Luka and Giannis, get those two guys on the same team. They're going to win a championship. That's always been the formula in Los Angeles, right? Whether it be Jerry West and Will Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Kobe, Shaq, Pau, Kobe, LeBron, AD, elite big plus elite guard plus elite small forward plus elite ball handler. Give me the big, give me the other dude, give me the 2 top 5 guys in the league. That's what leads to championships. When the Lakers have won their championships outside of maybe Pau was fringe top 10 at one point, it was getting 2 elite players and filling in the cracks with other role players. And yes, you had Lamar Odom. Andrew Bynum was really good for a year. You brought Ron Artest. There was a lot of moves in the 3P team with Glenn Rice, and you had Robert Horry. There's a lot of good role players, but it starts at the top. And you really can't win the NBA unless you have those top guys. Now, I will throw out a 3-team trade that I think the Lakers should consider making if you're going to make a deal at this deadline. A 3-team trade that would help them win now. And I think that's still pretty important. The Lakers get Jared Allen and Andrew Wiggins. Jared Allen, pricey, but he fits the need of, hey, you need a center in the future. Lakers get Jared Allen. Lakers get Andrew Wiggins. The Heat get Rui Hachimura, also one of Vando, Gabe Vincent, or Maxi Kleber, and then you give up the 2031 first-round pick. And the Cavs get DeAndre Ayton, which I can do with or without at this point. I think DeAndre Ayton is an is what he is type of guy. The Cavs get Ayton and one of Maxi Kleber, Gabe Vincent, and Vando. Of course, Ayton's got to agree to it. The Lakers could throw in a pick swap to the Cavs. LA would have 3 spots left to fill in their roster after. They would only have 12 players after, so you would have to fill in with at least 2 spots, but you would have enough space to do it. Get some vets on the buyout market, things like that. So, hey, look, there are some crazy trades that could still be made, is my point. There are some crazy trades that still could be made. All right, let's get some comments here. We got Mr. Classic. If the NBA did have a salary cap, you know the Lakers be looking like the Dodgers right now 100%. No doubt about it. I mean, that's what is different and unique about the NBA. Alex Renteria, I'm sure the Walter Group can work around the salary cap. They're smart people. I mean, it's about picking, it's about drafting right, picking the right stars, and you got the first big box checked off, is you have one of the 3 best players in the league. And for a lot of teams, you could spend decades trying to get there, and they're there. We've got maybe says the Lakers' future is still cooked because Rob Pelinka is the GM, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, look, I wonder how much control he has over what's going on. I mean, it's an interesting conversation. I mean, do some people don't get the Pelinka hate, right? All the suggestions from here on how to build a team are usually short-sighted. It's armchair GMs, negative Lakers fans, unrealistic Lakers fans. And Pelinka hasn't really been short-sighted with his deals. I mean, you landed Luka. That's the hardest, most important thing to do in the NBA. And it takes time to build a championship roster with a 41-year-old getting 50 plus million, right? So I call him playoff Pelinka. I'm kind of rough on him a little bit. And I think ultimately they'll probably end up replacing Rob Pelinka. But the truth is the biggest move that he made was a move that I think that he should get credit for. Like, Nico Harrison is an absolute, he's going to pay for his sins one day in basketball hell. But I mean, without that relationship, and yes, it was by a little bit of a coincidence there, but ask yourself this question. If Rob Pelinka is not the GM of the Lakers, is Luka Doncic a Laker? Because Rob Pelinka had the connection with Nico Harrison because of his connection with Kobe, because they were at Nike together. So, I mean, it's per chance, but you still got to give credit where credit's due. And he definitely was the biggest reason why they pulled off that deal. Just the relationship there. All right. Switching gears. Like, speaking of trades, Lakers road trip. We'll talk about that. It's over. It was the Grammy trip. It took a while. And LeBron James, he sent a message after it. He said, 5-3, 8-game road trip, man. We'll take it. It's time to go home. It's time to go home. So, yeah, they're 30-19. They're 5-3. They were away from home for 2 weeks. They beat the Nets. I think it's very clear now this team needs to get to the trade deadline, get past it, get healthy. So I think you feel good about that. Now, I'm going to switch to baseball because I saw a trade that really kind of blew your mind a little bit. It really kind of blew your mind a little bit. It was a trade that was presented by Bleach Report. And here's the trades. Let's switch to the Dodgers trades. Get some comments here. There we go. We've got a trade proposal. Get ready for this. Get ready to vomit. Get ready to throw something at your screen. The trade proposal is the Los Angeles Dodgers get left-handed pitcher Tarik Skubal, and the Detroit Tigers get right-handed pitcher Roki Sasaki, outfielder Zaire Hope, and Jackson Ferris. So Hope, Jackson Ferris, fine, but including Roki Sasaki is absolute rage bait. Like, whoever made this trade should not be able to write articles because you're writing fanfic, because you're writing things that have 0% chance of happening. So why would you read an article from someone that claims to know ball, that claims to be a professional, but why would you give someone essentially money, right? When you click on an article, it helps that writer get money. It makes them look good. That's their job. Why would you click on something and read something and consume something that you know has a 0% chance of happening? If I was reading that, I'd be offended. I would assume that this writer thinks I'm an idiot. I would assume that this writer is wasting my time and doing it just to fulfill a quota of clicks or whatever it is, right? So whoever wrote this, it's like, did you just think that, oh, Roki Sasaki and Tarik Skubal, I just need to get in the title that will get people like myself to react to it, which is fine, but I don't know who it is. Don't read that person anymore. Like if you follow them on Twitter, don't follow them unless you like ridiculous fanfic, because there's a 0% chance that the Dodgers would trade Roki Sasaki in a deal for Tarik Skubal. Zero. None. The reason for that is, one, they're still very high on Roki Sasaki as a pitcher. They think he can be an ace-level starter. His floor, as we saw last year, the postseason, was an elite closer, right? And then two, they're not going to fracture their relationship with Japan and fracture their relationship with potentially Shohei Ohtani or Yoshinobu Yamamoto, guys that worked hard to get Roki to sign with the Dodgers and also have any risk of damaging the pipeline that the Dodgers have with Japanese players signing with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So look, you could have chosen so many other players, but It's not worth talking about. It's not like, oh, what like now, if would I do the trade to either two? Like on top of that, would I even make that deal? I wouldn't. Like I would not even make that deal, even if it weren't for all those other factors. Just because you're basically getting 1 year of Tarik Skubal, and Rogi Sasaki is under team control at a low rate for at least a couple more years. Then when he hits arbitration, depending on how that is, you have him under team control for 5 more seasons. Like it just sometimes I thought this was like fake. I think it was from Bleach Report. Like it's really pathetic. It's really pathetic. And it was really offensive. I can't believe that. One, you don't do that deal. Two, the Dodgers wouldn't do that deal. So unless you like fanfic, unless you just want to just read fake stuff that has 0% chance of happening, I would never read whoever wrote that again. I think it's an absolute joke. All right, switching gears to Sean McVay. So Sean McVay, let's play my Rams music. Sean McVay had his end of season press conference, and we'll do some big takeaways from it, but he also talked about Tutu Atwell. And Tutu Atwell signed with the Rams. He came back on a 1 year, $10 million deal. He had 192 yards receiving and had 1 touchdown. So he basically got $10 million per touchdown this season. Can you imagine if you were Davante Adams and you had that same deal? Davante Adams led the Rams with 15 touchdowns. If he was on the Tutu Atwell contract, he'd get $150 million for 1 season. And everyone wondered, what was the deal with Tutu Atwell? It was Tutu ain't well, right? And it was, oh, he's great. It's Tutu fast, Tutu furious. He's going to be that third receiver. He's going to be able to take the top off the defense. He got injured, didn't play much, was a non-factor, didn't even play in the playoffs. And Sean McVay said yesterday about why Tutu Atwell didn't play, quote, well, I think the first thing is the vision that we had for what our offense was going to be going into the season, and then what it became organically was very different, just based on the number of receivers that we played with in a lot of situations. Part of the thought process when we made that signing last year was that we were going to still be in a lot of that 11 personnel grouping. You have him and Puka and Devontae, and then, you know, the complementary pieces. And then unfortunately, he had some injuries. There were some different things that went on here. Hey, the games continue to go when he missed. In that period of time, he wasn't given an opportunity. And then we kind of organically figured out this next iteration where we lean into a lot of 13 personnel. That naturally takes receivers off the grass. So basically what Sean McVay said is the idea was for it to be Puka, Devontae, and Tutu Atwell as your receiving core. And the Rams have been a team that uses a lot of 11 personnel. You get the 3 receivers, tight end, running back. This year, it was about 13 personnel, where you have 1 receiver, 2 tight ends on one side and 1 tight end on the other side. So 3 tight ends total, a receiver and a running back. And it's because of that he didn't play. The truth is, from what I've been told, he didn't look great in practice. He didn't. Like, he did not earn his spot. And when you look back at the Rams, first of all, drafting Tutu, I heard that was a Sean McVay draft pick, and they could have gotten center Creed Humphrey, who ended up being a elite center for the Kansas City Chiefs. And a part of the reason why Tutu was kept around that long and brought back was Sean McVay wanting to prove that, hey, this is the guy I picked and I wanted to make him work. It was the sunk cost fallacy. You ever go to a movie and you pay $15 for it and you're like, oh man, this movie sucks. Looking at you, The Last Airbender. And then you're watching that movie and you're like, I should leave. I know I'm not enjoying this, but since I paid for it, I'm going to stay for the whole thing. That's what the Rams did with Tutu Atwell. And hopefully moving forward, the Rams realize that, hey, you got to let Les Snead and the scouts, look, Sean McVay is great at a lot of things. As far as player evaluation, that's not one of his strengths. So that's why Tutu Atwell did not play, and he was a bust. Tutu Atwell was a bust for the Los Angeles Rams. Did not play enough, was injured. didn't produce enough. He had one big catch this year where he made the game-winning touch against the Colts where the defender fell down. Yes, he shook him a little bit. And sure, if he got more opportunities with another team, maybe he gets more receiving yards and receptions and touchdowns. But the bottom line, it did not work out for the Rams. Tutu goes down as a bust. And I hope the Rams learn from this. So coming up, let's talk some UCLA, baby. Talk some UCLA. We'll talk some college basketball. I'll see some comments there. Keep lighting up. We'll get to those before we head out. All right. UCLA, they get a big win yesterday. The Bruins beat Rutgers. And sure, they did have a heartbreaking loss against Indiana. Heartbreaking loss against Indiana. You hate to see it. The Bruins really kind of fighting for a spot in the NCAA tournament at this point. You had a tough stretch to start your season, and they've looked better, but you really needed to win that game against Indiana, against a quad 2 team. I got 5 takeaways, though, from the win over Rutgers. The UCLA wins 98-66, blowout fashion over the Scarlet Knights. They're now 8-4 in the conference. Rutgers 2-10, so they're a bad team. 5 takeaways from the 32-point win. Xavier Booker was at Michigan State, was a 5-star junior forward. He had his best game as a Bruin. 24 points. He missed just one of his 11 shots. The offense was just great from Booker. He's 6'11". His defense is really, really good. He had 5 rebounds. He had one of UCLA's 2 blocks. He was contesting around the rim. And Booker is the difference for UCLA. If he can play like this, UCLA can be dangerous. UCLA can be dangerous. This is a revelation for UCLA. They have a real shot if Donovan Dent can get better, if Booker can get better. And this is huge because he did not look like this at the beginning of the season. Also, another big takeaway, Dent, he was the big pickup for UCLA in the offseason. $3 million NIL deal, the biggest one that UCLA has handed out. He led the team with 11 assists. No one else on the team had more than 3 assists. So he was a huge spark. And Dent continues to grow his confidence as a shooter. UCLA is getting more rebounds and assists. And they look like more of a complete team. It's another big takeaway, too. The rebounding was there. UCLA has struggled at the rim, but 35 rebounds. Out-rebounded Rutgers 35-30. He had 46 points against Indiana. And, 46 rebounds against Indiana. That just wasn't enough in double overtime. So the rebounding was better. The shooting was better. UCLA made 56% of their shots, 57% from 3. The starters each made 50% of their shots. Booker, like we said, led the way 10 of 11. And also Tyler Bilodeau, 19 points, 6 of 11. Donovan Dent, 13 points on 5 of 10. Trent Perry continues to grow, 4 of 6, had 10 points. So, look, that's the big takeaway is you got to defend home court. And you had that terrible loss against Indiana, but UCLA turns it up. They forced 9 turnovers, had 3 steals after halftime, and the defense was better. It looked like more of a Mick Cronin team. They're going to need to get some big wins, though. You got to find a way to get some big wins down the stretch to feel good about making the NCAA tournament because UCLA has really put themselves in a bind because of these disappointing losses. Now, the big one, Valentine's Day at Michigan, 10 a.m. Michigan looks like a national championship team. And then you go Michigan State a couple days after that. That's a gauntlet of games. UCLA plays Michigan, Michigan State, and Illinois back to back to back. Michigan's number 2, Michigan State's number 10, Illinois is number 5. That'll be a home game. Then you get USC at home. Then you go to Minnesota. Then you take on number 9 Nebraska at home, and you go to USC. So there's a world where UCLA doesn't make the NCAA tournament. They got some big opportunities coming up. So the bubble watch right now is they got work to do. They've got work to do. On the bubble, it has UCLA on the bubble. It says the Bruins recently saw their 14-game home winning streak snapped in double overtime against Indiana, but they got back to winning business Tuesday with a blowout over Rutgers. In the big picture, their resume still ranks in the mid-40s nationally and 10th in the Big Ten, though that might be underselling their chances. The forecast model composite thinks they're more likely to get a bid than not at 74%, and on the basis of 2 quadrant 1 wins and a more manageable rest of the season schedule, number 35 national on the BPI, than their bubble rivals. So that's where they're at. Now, let's switch gears to USC. Talk some USC real quick, because give USC credit. USC and Elijah Arenas. Hey, they beat Indiana 81-75. It was Elijah Arenas' best game as a college basketball player. Had 29 points, and his dad, Gilbert Arenas, dropped a little commentary on it.
Such a proud dad moment right here, to see your son be guarded by a guy wearing the Gill Zeros. Hey, I want to cheer up because I know Connor here had to go out of his way to find the Gill Zeros that don't match the jersey to troll you. If you know, you know. You have to be a real Agent Zero troll to know how to do this. Connor, you the real hero here. Keep up the good work.
That was good stuff, man. I gotta ask that player, did he really do that? Did he really go out of his way to get some Gill Zero Adidas Gilbert Arenas signature shoes just to try to troll Elijah Arenas? And Elijah Arenas ends up with 29 points and 6 rebounds, and you lose. So hey, that's a great story right there. Elijah Arenas going off, and hey, man, it's a great thing to see, because last April he survived a serious car accident. He was in a Tesla Cybertruck that caught fire. He was placed in a medically induced coma due to smoke inhalation, but he's since recovered and he's back out there on the court. So that was scary. It's great to see him back on the court having that success. All right, back to UCLA. Lonzo Ball back in Westwood. Lonzo, that year was so magical in Westwood. Really thought that team was going to win a national championship. Well, Lonzo was back at UCLA. Here was Lonzo.
Earlier tonight, Lonzo Ball honored the honorary captain, the former first-team All-American at UCLA. He was part of some really electric
That team was fun to watch. That team was fun to watch, led by him. The best throw-ahead passer I've ever seen in college basketball, meaning he would get it in the backcourt and throw it ahead on the money, leads to layups, dunks, threes. This unselfish, a really good understanding of how to pass the ball.
Oh, Lonzo, that year, he was so good. He was fantastic. I mean, that team, 2016, 2017, him, TJ, Leaf, Ike, and Abogu, I thought they were going to cut down the nets. And I also thought Lonzo Ball was going to have a great career in the NBA. Unfortunately, it's been derailed by injuries. He had the cartilage replacement surgery, and he is still in the league, which is good. 4.6 points per game, 4 boards, 3.9 assists, shooting 30% from the field, 27.2% from beyond the arc in 35 games. So not having himself a great season, but the fact that he's still in the association after the injuries, I'm still very happy about it. And look, it's like that meme, the Vince McMahon meme. Hey, Dad, what was it like to see Lonzo Ball at UCLA? It's like you gotta get emotional. It was so great. But Lonzo Ball, man, gonna miss you. Hopefully he can have some moment. But that brings me, what is the UCLA all-time starting five? That's what we'll end the show today. The all-time starting five at UCLA: Lonzo Ball, Baron Davis, Darren Collison. There are names that you can talk about for the point guard spot, but they're the obvious ones too. At the center spot, it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. 3 national championships at UCLA. Would have been 4 if he was able to play on the varsity team. Back then, there was a rule where freshman didn't play on the varsity team. They outlawed the dunk. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the most dominant players in the history of the game, a lock. He's Mr. UCLA basketball. Kareem, the skyhook, Wooden. He was Lou Alcindor at the time. He's the starting center. Power forward, you go Bill Walton. Rest in peace to Bill Walton. And there's a lot of lore about Bill Walton at UCLA. He almost quit the team because he didn't want to cut his hair, and he ends up cutting his hair. He stayed at UCLA, and that was one of the best teams we've ever seen. Bill Walton wins 2 championships at UCLA, 72 and 73. And it was also the streak that UCLA went on. UCLA had an 88-game winning streak under John Wooden from January 30th, 1971 to January 19th, 1974. They lost to Notre Dame. And then Jamal Wilkes at your small forward. Great NBA career, great at UCLA. Then shooting guard Reggie Miller. So Reggie Miller's Bruins didn't win a national title, but Reggie would go on to be one of the best shooters in the history of the NBA. One of the most clutch players too. And then point guard, I want to throw in Baron Davis for personal reasons, but I think you got to go with Gail Goodrich. Gail Goodrich had himself a great career. He's retired with the Lakers. His number 25 retired. He averaged 18.6 points per game, 4.7 assists, 3.2 rebounds in the NBA. Played 14 years in the association, made 5 All-Star teams. That's the UCLA all-time starting 5. I think that's one that I would change, though. I think for me, my personal starting 5, as far as just that's college success, my starting 5 would be Kareem at center, Walton at power forward, Jamal Wilkes at the small forward, Reggie Miller at the shooting guard spot, and I'm going Russell Westbrook at point guard. Russell Westbrook is an NBA MVP, a top 75 all-time player. That team went to the Final Four. That is the definitive starting 5 for UCLA. Kareem, Walton, Wilkes, Miller, and Russ. All right. Some comments on the way out. Ruben, Jamal Wilkes, R. Carino, UCLA all-time starting 5. D-Mac. There we go. There we go. If they saw me on the court, this is what they would say. D-Mac, Kareem, Gail, Reggie, left on base. We need a dugout, a Doug cutout at UCLA. Okay, that'd be cool. Big buzz for Lonzo. We got the true secret. Need my alma mater to be relevant again in college basketball. I think you're talking about, I don't know who you're talking about. If it's UCLA, I agree with that for sure. Muad'Dib, I hate USC as much as the next guy, but Mekhi Lemon is everything we wanted from Tutu. Hey, I'm going to talk about that later this week. Mekhi Lemon is my guy. I want Mekhi Lemon so bad on the Rams. You got me doing stuff like this. As a brilliant, don't have to fight. I don't care. I need him on the Rams. Okay, so my best friend. Kevin Love is honorable mention, Ruben. Kevin Love was an All-American. K-Love probably makes the Hall of Fame when you consider the Olympic accolades as well. Ruben, how far does UCLA have to advance in the tournament for Mick Cronin to save his job? Because of the extension with a $22 million buyout, I think he saves his job unless they maybe miss the tournament. But yeah, if he gets a couple wins, he should be fine. They got a tough schedule down the stretch. We got Alex, D-Mac. What is up? We got Ed O'Bannon, Jordan Farmar. That's a nice little one. Today's Skubal's arbitration here. Yeah, we're going to talk about that next. All right, guys. Thanks for rocking with us here on the LA Sports Report. We'll be back tomorrow. A trade deadline special. We'll see the Lakers make a move, but whether they do or they do not, spend it here with us. This is the movement, the LA Sports Report. There's channels that are about specific teams. This is all your teams rolled into one. Let me know if you got any requests. I play the hits here. And thank you so much for joining us here. We're going to be going live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. So the morning club, join us 10 a.m. Make us a part of your daily routine so you won't miss a thing about LA sports. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment. And remember that LA is the city of champions.